Marion Franklin is a master certified life coach, trainer, mentor, and author. Her second book, What Would a Wise Person Do? Simple Ways to Cultivate a Fresh Mindset and Find Inner Peace, was just released. She's excited to share with people who want deeper connections and more inner peace. Each profound story is a 3 to 5 minute read, leaving you with ideas and ways to try something new or gain a new perspective. Marion's coaching book, The Heart of Laser Focused Coaching, a revolutionary approach to masterful coaching, sold over 40,000 copies. Thus far, each person she has mentored or trained has achieved PCC, which is Professional Coaching Certification, or MCC, Master Coaching Certification, using the materials in the book. Her specialties are from the International Coaching Federation, which is accredited at Level 1 Laser Coaching Program, and she currently has ongoing monthly mentoring coaching groups for Credential. Marion currently has a waiting list only for class and groups. Connect with Marion through her book, What Would a Wise Person Do? Or grab her complimentary resource, 10 Myths Coaches Believe, at laserfocusedcoachingbook.com/gifts. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another segment of From Resume to Reinvention to Remarkable. And I'm so excited to talk with you all with Marion, and she is going to share something that's totally different. So just get ready to buckle up, and I'm pretty sure it's going to relax your mind. So Marion, just before we get started, you shared with us a different perspective about going into entrepreneurship. And I think people need to hear more about what you say to help them with their courage, persistence, and thinking bigger. So can you just jump right in and share your thoughts about the whole entrepreneurship movement?
Sure. I think that, because I'm a coach, and my philosophy is that a person's truth has to be aligned with their vision, which has to be aligned with their purpose, which has to be aligned with their higher self. And if any one of those things is not in alignment, then it's not going to happen, or there's conflict. So I'm saying all that because not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. It's not everyone's truth. It could be their vision. I want to be on my own. I don't want to have a boss. I want to make my own choices. But our truth could be that that's not really who we are. And so many years ago, I worked with someone who had fabulous, really amazing ideas, like putting wheels on suitcases before they even, did that. And the person really wanted to be an entrepreneur. But to this day, and this was many years ago, it still didn't happen because it just wasn't that person's truth. That person had great ideas, but they needed some direction from elsewhere. So not everyone is meant to be. But that said, people who are meant to be can still be stuck in, how am I going to really do this? So it's not an across the board, I'm just giving an example of where the truth didn't align.
So have you had people come to you who say, okay, I know I want to be an entrepreneur. And what are some things that you can kind of identify in your conversation when you're working with them to say, not to dash their dreams, but maybe direct them, and maybe they need to reinvent in a different direction. So what are some things that you notice so that our audience can start putting in their mind like, oh, maybe that is me?
Well, I think the number one thing, which I just mentioned before, is the vision. So if your vision is compelling enough, it will pull you forward. And so what I mean by that is when I first decided, which is pretty crazy story actually. So originally I was a high school teacher.
Okay.
So clearly I was, every 42 minutes the bell rang and I went to another class thing. So it was very regimented. And then I started working with my ex-husband in a regular job, we'll say. We were doing publishing and research and whatever. And it was eye-opening to me, like, oh, wait, time has such a different perspective. which for an entrepreneur can be hard because there is no structure unless you make one. So you've got 24/7, but it's much easier to get distracted than it is to stay focused. So eventually I was out on my own, and I made that decision because I was so annoyed with the job I was in. I was in a job, and I hated the boss, and I just got so frustrated. So anyway, I made this decision. I can do this on my own. I can be a coach, and I can make this work. My vision was so strong and so powerful and so compelling because I had to survive. I was now on my own, and I had to survive, and I had to find a way to take my passion, which was helping people and coaching, and make it work. When I first made that decision, and I'll never forget the first day I was in my office, and I looked up at my calendar and I said, "Oh my God, what have I done?" So I don't recommend that people just do it at the spur of the moment, because that's really not what I would ever recommend. I just happen to have the finances to be able to do that, but most people don't. I always say keep your day job, but that's not to say that you can't start implementing things and the other hours, whether it's the weekend or the nights or whatever. Start to implement those things which you're really passionate about, and starting to put the wheels in gear. So I started on and what I decided, and I think this was the key for my success, was that I was going to have to get out of my comfort zone, and I was going to have to do things that I had never done, and really look at the world in a different way, because now I'm on my own. There's no one telling me what to do. There's no structure. There's no time frame. There's no anything. It's just me and what I want to do. And I decided that I was going to get one new client every month, a minimum of one new client. And don't ask, because it's almost like I felt like, if I have to go out on the street, I'm going to find a way to do this. So I think the first thing I did was I spoke to a whole group of women, and it was one of the scariest things I had ever done, because in those days, I was so young and so innocent, so to speak. And I just thought, but you know what? I have to do something. So I got in front of these women, and I did a whole presentation with a visual and everything. And to this day, people still remember it. And that was like maybe 25 years ago or something. Wow. Maybe even more. But in any event, and I got somebody at the end of that to say, "I'd like to work with you." And I thought, oh, one client, yay. But I had already been working, doing it part-time while I still had my day job. So I did have, I think, just one client. And then now I had two. But it inspired me, because again, the vision was so strong. I am going to have to survive. And if it doesn't work, I can always work part-time again. I can go back to finding a job part-time. But I said, but that's not what I want. So I kept going. Where else can I get out of my comfort zone? So I invited 5 friends to my living room, 5 friends. And I said, you have to bring someone that I don't know. So I had 10 people in my living room, and I did a whole presentation. And then from that, they said, oh my God, now we understand what you do. Oh, I know someone who would like to work with you. And then that brought more people. So my point being, I just kept getting creative on how I was going to put myself out there. But it's all because the vision was so strong that I had to survive.
That is a fascinating story. I love that, because you talked about the main pillars of what we're here for: courage, and people are trying to look for clarity, but that's not it. It was the courage to get out and do something, and the persistence. Like, you didn't just say, oh, a client will come. You had a strategy and you were persistent, and then you set reasonable expectations for yourself. Like, just let me get one. And then like you said, you were thinking bigger and had a bigger vision. But what I want to now shift towards, because you started in this, it feels like it's a new thing, but coaching has been around for decades. And what would you say for the two types of people, the people that do want to have the courage, persistence to think bigger, but they still should be that person in their career space, or the person that's venturing out? What is something that still works for you from starting where you were, outside of the bells and whistles that we see today in the marketing and all of the different things, to go be a coach or go be an entrepreneur?
I don't think there's any one thing. I remember I put an ad in a gym. You're working on your body. What about your mind? Maybe that brought one person. Then there was some kind of like what I call a raggy newspaper. It was a local thing. And they said, do you want to put an ad in? And I thought, well, that's not really. And then I thought, you know what the heck? And that was one person. So my point being, you just have to, if you don't get your name out there and people are not clear on what it is you're doing, you'll never get people. You have to be willing to expose yourself. And I mean that literally, you have to be willing to be out there. And you have to be willing to take the consequences of people saying, no, this isn't for me, or I don't want to work with you, or I've chosen somebody else, or they just kind of disappear and don't say anything. That's all part of the deal. And you need to have faith in, and again, that vision that just keeps pulling you and compelling you to keep going despite the bad things that happen along the way, and the rejections and all that.
Okay, so we are getting close, because like I said, I love your approach to be different, because you said that everyone isn't meant to be, and well, two things. You said everyone probably isn't meant to be a full-time entrepreneur, but that doesn't stop them from doing something remarkable. Can you speak towards that for people who are saying, oh man, this may not be for me. What else can I do if my vision isn't, if I can't be an entrepreneur, then what is still like my purpose or vision, or why am I still here?
Well, I think that, first of all, you can do something besides pay the rent or the mortgage with your regular job. People can join improv groups who want to do acting or something. People could join a choir because they really want to be a singer, and they're not going to make it as an entrepreneur singer, or the next Beyonce or something. So they're going, but there's always time to put in the schedule the things that you're passionate about. I remember one woman who was so passionate about making, I don't know what you'd even call it, but we'll just say little crafty things, for lack of a better term. And she wound up in Bloomingdale's, but not because that was her plan. It was just, she started selling things to friends and to, just people she ran into, and said, here's what I do. I mean, she had a job. It wasn't like this was going to be her life thing, and it just exploded. So you just don't know. But if you can't put yourself out there and be willing to take all the fall, it's never going to happen. But by the same token, I always say, keep your day job and do whatever you want on the side, whether that's weekends or nights, as I said. And if it starts to take off, great. Doesn't mean leave your day job, because you still need to pay that rent or mortgage, right? But after a while, you start to build that momentum, and you can see, this is where you belong. This is my purpose. This is who I am. This is my truth. And then it starts to flow.
So what I'm hearing you say is everyone should just stop focusing on the idea of entrepreneurship, and sit with themselves and say, well, what is a vision that I have for my life, and just try out different passions in life, just like little exploration for themselves, and then go from there. And then that will drive them, that will inspire them to go forward. Is that what you're saying?
I think, yeah, I think it's also what is the experience you want to have in your life? I think that's really important. And, I've written now two books. And the second book, which just came out, What Would a Wise Person Do? I think is really something that could help everybody because there are stories in there. It's a little 101 little stories, like they're all 2 or 3 pages. And I just think it could really help people um, learn more about themselves, in which case they will realize what is the experience I want to have in my life and how do I make that happen.
Wow. Well, I thank you so much for this different perspective. And I appreciate that. I wish I would have heard you say that we could have crossed paths a few years ago, but the divine timing. And I hope everyone that's listening that they can take a deep breath in and a sigh of relief, saying that just because you may not jump into entrepreneurship, that doesn't mean that you cannot have a remarkable life, because there's still more out there for you to explore, but it
Mhm.
may not be in that path. Well, you already mentioned it, but I want to know what you were currently working on. But you said your book is coming out. Is that the latest thing that you're working on?
The second book just came out.
It
It's
just
now on Amazon. Yeah. And at this point in my life, because I am old, at this point in my life, I am really trying not to work, which is kind of a joke because I can't quite give it up. I love what I do. And that's, I think, the key is, I'm so passionate about helping people in a particular way that it's hard for me to just walk away. So I'm mentoring but not working on something specifically um, to put out there because now that, as I say, that was my second book,
Mhm.
and I feel like I have done my thing. I'm at peace, so to speak. I feel fulfilled. I feel complete. Yeah, it's a really good feeling. And yet I still love to give back, so that's important too.
Well, I love that. Thank you so much, Marion. I am aspiring to be at that place one day, so I can just, I've done it all. I can breathe and just give back without, from that place of just trying to go. So I love that you are an inspiration and an aspiration. I thank you so much for joining us and sharing your neat perspective on how we can move from resume to reinvention, but focusing on being remarkable. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.